maybe do a recap from yesterday. Yesterday we covered customers and setting up pattern customers, pattern jobs, and other patterns. And then today we'll start looking at using the program in day-to-day operations. But one thing while we're waiting, I would like to take a couple minutes to cover some of the customer screens that we didn't look at. So if I go to a customer, and the customer we added yesterday was named Houston, and notice, by the way, you can sort or search by different criterion here. And one thing is you've got this little lines here with a magnifying glass. You can add additional search filters. The more search filters you have, the slower it might be, but as you saw, it was still pretty quick. Okay, so we go into Sam Houston, we can look at his account. So we've got these different options here. We looked at properties and jobs. Adjust package is, I think I covered this yesterday, it's just a way to drag a job from one package to another a little more easily than going into each job and reassigning it. Now, the program does have an estimates feature here. I won't go into this in a lot of detail, but basically what it allows you to do is name the estimate. So we'll call this class estimate. If I could spell today, class estimate. You'd set up some goals. So if your average company cost per hour is $50, and your dollar per man hour goal is 50. Well, let's say your cost is $32 for this. So as you build the estimate, then you're going to get some estimated total profits here. And one thing you have to do is you got to click save, and I find I forget to do that sometimes. So I'm going to say I'm going to create a lawn maintenance, spring cleanup, and fall cleanup for the estimate. So I then hit add selected services to estimate. Here they are. I can hit edit and put in the charge for these. So $65 for mowing. If I want to, I can do budgeted man hours, travel, etc. For that. Then I go into spring cleanup. This will be $325. And finally, fall cleanup will be $250. Again, I save this. And so now you've got the cost, my goal, estimated total profit per man hour, because I didn't budget any times in there. It's not showing the man hours. So here is the estimate. Now you've got a couple things you can do with this. Under option, you can hide individual charges, unit cost, hide materials if you have any. So I'm going to uncheck that. You can set email templates. That is, these different templates would be the body of the email. And from the email, there'd actually be a link to the estimate itself. So you can create various emails, like one for turf care program. So if this was specifically a turf care estimate, I could then set that up and use that template for the email I send. You can also, if you do email it, there's a link in the estimate where the customer can accept it. And if he accepts it, then it will go from status to accepted, and you'll get a notification that it's been accepted. And then likewise, you've got here the ability to print. Now, frankly, the estimate's pretty ugly. So here it is. I'm not showing some of the pricing here, or I didn't save it. So see, that's what I mean by saving it. So I'll close this out. I'll save it. Then those settings I had should be saved. So I come back to print. Yeah, and so here are the pricing and the total. And we're working on ways, or development is, to make this better looking. So it's a work in progress. Okay, so that's the estimate section out of a customer. To-dos, that is the equivalent of what we would call the CMS feature of our other programs, where you can create tasks related to a specific customer. So if Sam Houston calls and he wants an estimate in the spring for an outdoor kitchen, you could come here, add task. It's going to be an estimate, and you can manage this list, so you can create what you want here. You set a start date, so this is going to be done March 24th. Sam wants estimate on outdoor kitchen, and then you can assign it to whoever would be responsible, and multiple people. And then when they log in on the 24th, they're going to see this on their dashboard to follow up with. So that's the to-dos. History is history, and there is none yet because it's a new customer. Documents, you can scan documents. You can either drag them from your document folder on your computer, or you can go here and it'll show you then different documents you can save in the customer's account. And then invoices would be past bills. And you'll see invoices here even if you bill with relation to QuickBooks. We'll talk more about that tomorrow. Okay, I just wanted to kind of go over those quickly because I didn't cover that very well yesterday. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go to daily. Now, I've already gotten a couple questions. Let me see. So in XE, we coded every new customer with a checked box, estimate, customer, etc. Is there a function like this in ITC when we input new customers? XE did have a, well, here, let me pull it up. So sorry about this, it's on my other screen. Let me pull this over. Okay, so within a customer, you had these check boxes here, and this would flag whether this record is a customer, a vendor, an estimate, or an employee. So you could set that up. Now, in ITC, you do not have that. Now, one thing is, and it's delayed for some reason, although it said it would be available around the 13th. We are releasing probably next Tuesday an update, and down here it will have custom fields. So those are fields available for you to use however you want. So including those types of flags that you asked about, Jennifer. How are the templates for emails created? Great question. Up here under marketing emails, you've got then estimate emails here. So it's under the customer tab, marketing emails, estimate emails. And as you can see, I've got 2 or 3 created. So, not very fancy here, but these are just how you, this is where you would create and save those. Do your documents transfer to ITC from XE? Yes, they will, but you have to ask us to do that. That's not something that is part of the normal conversion process, because it is a separate conversion we do after we convert your data. We then do a conversion of your docs file. So so Jim, make a note of that for when we do the final update or a conversion for you from CLIPitc to ITC, that you can ask, and that will be done for you. for you. Okay, now on to daily. Okay, so take a deep breath. Okay, the process in CLIPitc is similar or almost even identical to the process in CLIPitc. The two are the same in terms of what you do day to day. The screens look different, and what you click on to navigate through that process is a little bit different, and that process is as follows. You give the program a date, you get work for that date, and CLIP will show you everything that's scheduled, in this case for today, plus it'll show me anything I missed from an earlier date. Then based on that information, I can route it under routing. Having then put what's on the schedule in the best order, I can then print route sheets or use the app to see the work and to record it. Once, if you're using paper, those route sheets will then come back into the office and you'll go through a record work process to record start, stop times, material usage, and other information. Then you finalize or post the work in the old, as we called in the old system. And from there, it'll feed into the billing that we'll cover tomorrow, also different reports. So that workflow should be familiar to those of you who have come to CLIPitc from an earlier version. So now we're going to go through that a little more slowly. So let me start kind of going back to refresh our memories. Sorry about some dog outside going crazy. So we come to the job in a customer, and each job that's set up with an automatic schedules has a next visit date. This is what is used when we go to get work and we want to search for work for the 15th, the 14th, whatever in there. Okay, so now having kind of reviewed this part, set up a template for billing. We'll talk about that tomorrow because we'll talk about that tomorrow, Togo. Thank you for asking. All right, so then you come to daily and we're going to look for today's date. So you click on get work. There's this remove work button, and this basically allows you to clear out what's in here. So you saw me do that when I first came into the screen. If you've recorded work, or if work is in progress, say from the app, it's there that shows, as we'll see, that the job is in progress, then remove work won't affect that. It just will allow you to get rid of the work that hasn't been started or done, and then get work again. The main time you would use this is if you've changed a crew assignment in a job. Most other changes, you can just say get work as many times as you want and it will update. But for some reason, if you change the crew assignment, it doesn't update it automatically when you hit get work. Rather, you do need to hit remove work first and then get work to update the crew assignment. Okay, so today I have 92 jobs due or overdue for this day. No jobs are in progress. I've got just about 100 total budgeted hours and $3,300 in job charges here. And you notice over here, the due date column, you've got different dates. Any of these columns, you can click on the column heading to sort them, and you can put some ranges in like crew number and due dates. You could sort, click on jobs to sort, sort alphabetically by customer. If you want to confirm that Paul Miller is on the schedule for today, you can come in here, type in the name, and there he is. So this is a good window into your data. But frankly, you don't do a lot in this screen. I've had people who start kind of fiddling around with things to view, and you certainly can do that, but it's really just to show you kind of an overview of what's your scheduling situation is. Now we're looking at December 15th, lawn maintenance. That's what I want to, deal with today. So the next step, once I see what's on the schedule, I can come to routing. You don't have to, you can skip this step if you want to, but in the routing screen, you give it a date range. Now, this is where you have to be a little bit more mindful than you were in other versions of CLIP. Other versions of CLIP pretty much showed you today or everything. You couldn't, fine tune that. Here you can. So for instance, I refreshed for the 15th. If I went in here and tried to see the 16th, nothing would happen because that work isn't in the work bank. And we'll see this again when we get to print route sheets and record work. All right, so here we've got the 15th, and I want to do crew 1. You could also do a specific service based on job number here if you want to. I don't find that being used very much. And you've got your starting address here. And if it's different, you can put an ending address here instead. So when you first come into this, you'll have to enter the address and then hit save, and it will remember that. Now I click get routing. what is being presented to me is the order as it currently is set up in CLIP. Now, for those of you who've used other versions of CLIP, this is the existing routing sequence number order. So we've got, and scroll down, we got about 11 services here. Notice Hans Buster's down at the bottom. One thing you can do is you can drag people around. So I'm going to drag Hans up to the top of the list. So now we've got these two. Actually, they have, oh, there's Hans, sorry. It's a little finicky. So they're at the same address. So having done this, so let's say Hans is normally lower on the schedule, on the route, and I want to put him up top today. So he comes in, or he says, hey, you know, I need to be done early today because there's something going on in the afternoon. So you can manually drag him to a new position. And if you had saved this time, then he will be right here on today's route, but he will then revert back to his normal position when the job gets rescheduled. Okay, let's say that you are looking at this and you think, you know what, I bet we could get a better route. If you click Optimize Stops, Google Maps will go through and suggest to you what it believes to be the best route. You still have the freedom to tweak this if you want to. In giving you this route, then, if you like it, you have the option again of save this time, but then next Wednesday, these jobs would revert back to the previous order we saw a moment ago. Oh, hold on, sorry, there's people wanting into class. Okay. So save this time, we'll save it this now, and then it'll revert back. But if you click Save Order Permanently, the program will actually give each of these jobs and customers a new routing sequence number. So next Wednesday, when these jobs get rescheduled, they're going to show up in the same order. So you don't have to do this every time. You can hit Save It Permanently, and now these will show up for in this order every Wednesday. So it's a very easy process, and you really don't have to do anything. You know, having saved it now, this order is what we will see when we go to get work, or when the crew is looking in their app, or when we hit the print route sheets. I mean, sorry, when we go to do record work. Okay, so we've done the first two steps. We have got the work here under get work. Then having done so, we went to routing to route it. And now we go to print route sheets if you do route sheets. Again, we've got a date range here. So in this case, we're going all the way back a month ago. Now, I don't need to do that. So I'm going to come here and I'll do the 15th to the 15th. If you've maybe had some rain and things might have been delayed, you could come in and do, do from Monday just to show everything. You can put the overdue work first if need be. And then from here, you hit show report. So this will then be the route sheet for today, and you can expand this. So here you've got CLIPitc City Test 2. You got a place for them to write start and stop times. You've got budgeted hours here, and you've got this order then, and you've got notes here. So pretty typical route sheet for CLIP. One change, currently you cannot edit this information, even the header. That is something development's working on. I think first they'll let you modify these headers. Whether they'll open up the entire form for you to modify, I don't know, but there will be some improvements in this. And as you saw here, you've got some different styles. So we're going to go to the enhanced route sheet to take a look at that. Show report. So here's the enhanced route sheet, and in the enhanced route sheet, it will take the budgeted time here and break it down to give your crew how long they have based on the number of people on the crew that day. This is an hour, 25 minutes, but if you've got 4 men, they know they have 21 minutes to do this job. All right, now, what we're going to do next will be the look at the app. So here, we come in, I've got the app here. This is the Android version of the app. I'm not an Apple guy, so the Apple looks a little different. I mean, instead of like a settings icon, I believe they've got the word settings there. And some of these that are at the top on this app, I think are at the bottom with the Apple. So you'll adjust to it. You'll figure it out because you're a smart bunch. Okay, so we're starting in the settings section. I'm not going to go through this in a great detail, but you've got here show scheduled jobs, and they have choices. All scheduled would show everything for this crew in the workbank, but I've selected today's work. I just want to see the work that's on the schedule for today. Here's the crew. You can allow crews to see other crews' work if need be. So I've got that turned on. This is where they can, remove someone from the crew for that day and add whoever the replacement is. Then there are some functions down here. The only one I'll highlight, well, there are a couple I'll highlight. One is they can optimize the route. So if during the day they get out of order and so they want to see, okay, what's the best route for the remaining services, they can click here and it will optimize using Google Maps. If they're doing snow removal, they get through their snow route and it's continued to snow, so they have to go back and start over. They can finalize the jobs they've done and then hit reload route, and it'll repopulate the schedule here, and they can just go and do those stops again without the office being involved with that. A material report, this would just show them what materials they've got on the schedule for that day, so they can check when they get into the truck that they've got what they need. Here is where, if you use CLIP, and I'm not really going to cover much in the way of tracking employees, but this is where they would could clock in and clock out for payroll hours. And then over here, and okay, yeah, abbreviated is the smallest grouping on the printed route sheets, John. And John Kinlan, the app can be in Spanish. So if I come over back here and scroll down to language, I can change it to Spanish. No, I'm not going to do that. So, but yes, you can have these screens be in Spanish. Okay, so here are the jobs. Now you may remember that we did the save permanently, the save the routing order, and this is the order that it's in. So what they do is they come here, they click on Hans Buster. Here are the notes for the customer about this job, and they would hit start. And now this job has begun. Meanwhile, back in the office, you are coming into daily and you look at record work. Again, we're dealing with these date ranges we have to remember. So I'm going to come in here and do today here. And just crew one. They hit change to view. Okay, so here now are the jobs. Well, look at this. It's showing you that Hans Buster, the crew started at 2:23 and the job is in progress. So you can track what the crew is doing as the day goes on. So we come back to the app, they end this, they go back, and they're going to start city test. So they come here and they start it. But they want to send you a note. There's some dead shrubs. They want to point that out to the office. So you click add here. And one thing you can do, although I'm not techy enough to really do it, is on the phone or tablet that the crew uses, you can set it up for them to speak, and that will write the note. So dead bushes in back. And then you save this. Okay, now let's see what's happening back at the office. So we're still in this screen. Now we can hit then the refresh button in your browser to update it. So we're going to do that, or you could click into another part of the program and come back. Oh, well, look at this. So Hans Buster, it is finished. And here you've got the start and stop times. Here is city test. It is in progress. And there's this note. And also there is this to do. So the to do again is appears as an orange bar on the home screen. So that's how you can see it and follow up on it. So whenever general notes are created in the app, it actually creates an action item for you. That way it doesn't fall through the cracks. So we now have this and we have a follow-up on our home page. Likewise, you see the little balloon here. We've had a couple requests about, for instance, if the crew has taken a photograph, can you be notified that? Because you can, in the app, take a picture. You know, I really haven't done that part much. Let me see here where that is. Okay, I'll have to figure out where they actually do that, but they're able to take a photo like a before and after. However, there's no way of notifying you simply that a photo has been taken. They'd have to add a general note about that if it's something that's kind of that's not expected of them, or if they've made other notes. This is tied pretty specifically to the general note there. All right, so next we will go into the app and we're going to finish this out. So we'll close this. I'm not going to spend a lot more time in the app just because it would be kind of time consuming. I want to cover other topics, including manually entering. So let's say you're old-fashioned and you do the paper route sheets and you've got them back for the work that was done. What you can do is you can come into, click the pencil here. So we're going to record Don Quixote. Now notice that refresh the screen. So we now see this job is done. You come in and you hit Y. Now this is if you record start and stop times. So we'll say this job was done at 8:02 a.m. and they got done at 8:41. And we're going to hit save here, the little check mark on the left, and now it is saved. And then we'll go in and we'll do the next one. We got Daffy Duck. So yes, and this was done at, oh, that's interesting. That one was 12:41. Okay, so this will be 12:50 to 13:06, and then save. When you're entering times, if you can master military time, that's what you should use here, because if you just do like 2:23, if you put in a different, I'm sorry, got off track there. If you typed in like 1:06 here, it would think it's AM, and you have to remember to type PM in. But if you use military time like I did, and 1:06 PM is 13:06 military time. All right, so let's see. Yeah, someone's asking about, are you able to edit the description and amount of the work after posting the job? Yes. Now we'll see tomorrow that can be done in the billing screen. So you don't have to go into history to do that. But we'll look a little bit more at that even today. Okay, so that's how you manually enter start and stop time. So the first two were entered, the information was entered through the app. The last two is manually. Let's say you do not record times. Well, you come in here, then you check off the jobs that were done, however many there are, and hit mark selected as done. And now these jobs have been marked as done. And as you see, there's really no time associated with them. So that's how you can record times or record jobs when you're not recording start and stop times. That's the equivalent of the process in CLIPitc of just hitting the Y key to show the jobs were done. All right, now a couple things to look at. Notice for these jobs I entered manually, the date defaults to today. So let's say those jobs were all really done yesterday, and I'm entering them from yesterday's route sheet. So I come in here, and you then would check these off, and I come up to this part, replace date. So I'm going to replace the date with the 14th, and I check these. So when I hit replace date, the ones I've checked will be changed. So these two are still the 15th, and these are the 14th. And we've got a question about how do you record jobs that are done in multiple days? What you would do in that case is you'd hit the edit button. And you'd put an I in here for in progress or incomplete. And then you tab over. And so this will be 2:35 to, see what I did there? I didn't use military time and what AM. Okay, so 14:35 to 17:02. So this is in red, and this will show up on my schedule again tomorrow. So it's not, when I hit finalize jobs, there's not a way to finalize an incomplete job. And so that's how you would do this, and similar in the app. Okay, now we've got the jobs recorded. You know, we have the 15th here, the 14th, we've got this job skipped. When you're done doing the data entry, or you've seen the information come in from the field, you do have the opportunity to edit information. So if the guy's finger twitched and, you know, the start stop times are wrong, so let's say in this case the start time was actually earlier, or you need to edit an amount, the way to do that is not clicking on the pencil and editing this line. The way to do it is either to highlight the line, so Sam Houston, hit reset job, and then you can re-enter the information. Or you can click on the little, what they call a caret, this little triangle to the left-hand margin, and now it's popped this open. So if I need to change this to 125, I can do so here and hit save. If there was an additional crew member on this job, I could come in and grab them. So Adam Schiff was also on the job here, but he was there from, you know, we'll just say, what are my times on this 224? So he was there from, I don't know, I'll do it manually because I don't want to get an error. So I come in here and I do 1423 to 1424. I hit add time. So now we've got Adam on here too, and I hit save and then close. So that's how you would edit this information before finalizing it. Okay, we aren't going to be using the app. They want it used just as we use our system now. Is that possible? Yes, Susan, that is possible. So if you're not using the app, you would go to the print route sheet like we did a few minutes ago. And then again, when you get into the screen to record work, you would record it. So if you're not recording times for the jobs that are done, you just check and hit mark selected as done. For the ones where you do have to record times, you hit the pencil and go through that. Okay, so we're done with these. I check them off and I hit finalize selected. This is like in the old system posting the work. Now you're going to notice something. I did not get a prompt to print the final list of work done. So to see what's been recorded on any given day, you go to reports here. Now I'm going to open this in a new tab so I can come back to the daily tab. And in reports, there is the daily work report. And I choose a date. So I recorded some work for yesterday. So I'm going to choose the 14th. And I can then choose crews. If I don't check anything, it'll give me all of them. I hit show report. And here now is the final list of work done. So Don Quixote, Janis Joplin, Jane Smith. Over here would give me my dollar per hours if I were recording times for these. So this is the report that you get prompted to print in CLIPitc or the older versions of CLIP. So you can run it anytime. If you, in the old program, if you forgot to print it or got lost, it could be a pain in the neck to recreate, but here you just do it every time you need it in the daily work. All right, so let's kind of do a little review here, and we'll also cover a few things we didn't look at a bit ago. So the place to start under daily is get work. And what we did was we did the refresh the workbank. We talked about printing route sheets. We saw what it looked like in the app. We saw what it was like to record work in the app as well as in the program, and then to finalize or post it. But there are some other options here. So view work calendar basically gives you a calendar view. And frankly, you can't manipulate this. You really can't drag and drop it. So it's just there to look at. Again, I hope that it'll become more interactive as time goes by. But as we'll see, there's another way if you need to manipulate things. Yesterday, when we talked about jobs, we talked about how zone scheduling would be appropriate for some jobs, for instance, snow removal. So with this, what we would do is we'd come in and we'd see what crews we have here. So I want to do my plow truck. I've got a couple plow trucks, so I'm choosing those. And then by select jobs, you could select specific services. But basically by selecting the plow trucks, that should be sufficient. And then zones is where if you have different physical zones set up, those would be able to be selected to filter where you want to what you want to see. So I'm going to hit here, activate. Okay, so now this has jumped up to 103 jobs, and we were down the list. I forget what one was truck 20 or crew 20. So here we have crew 6. So we have some snow removal. We also had a spring app for Donald there. And then if I come down here to crew 20, we have snow related services. So that's how those are put on the schedule. And then from here, you would do the same thing in terms of printing the route sheet, recording work, etc. All right, so I've got a couple questions in the apps or in the chat, so hang on a second. Okay, John, I'm not sure if I understand that. I'll have to come back to that. 2D on multiple day jobs the following day. If we need to enter the time, do we use the pencil icon or the caret sign? Okay, good question. You can use the pencil on subsequent days for a multi-day job. You don't have, or you could use the other as well, but the pencil would work in that scenario. All right, so now that's how you do zone jobs. And so activate zone jobs, that puts them on the schedule. Now, we also talked about programs and rounds. Now, programs and rounds is also a zone method of scheduling. So to put those rounds on the schedule, you come here to activate rounds, and it's showing you all of your different programs. So I'm going to choose 3 different programs I want to activate. I'm going to choose 4. I want to activate round 1 in each of these. So here's early spring. Here is round 1. And so each of these correspond to the program here. So come down here and then, okay. All right, so now, and up here, you can put how many days have elapsed. So that means when you get to round 2, if you've just finished up round 1, you may say, okay, I want only customers where 30 days have elapsed or 40 days. That way you don't step on the previous round. And likewise, you can filter on the crews here if you need to. And then you can limit who you're going to see by choosing specific zip codes or specific zones here. So I hit next. Now, I don't have a lot in here, but these now are everyone with round 1. And it shows down here that there are 7 rounds here. Here are the man hours, quantity of material, dollars, etc., square footage. But what's really nifty about this is if I click map selection, someone in Florida, when you know, so come down here and zoom in. All right, so notice I've got a bunch of properties here, and I've got this one down here, and I've got the one in Florida. Now, I want to just do the ones in the Frederick area. So I come up to this little legend here. I click the box. I come here, and I put the box. And notice this list then got shorter. And if I hit Save Selection, it has now checked off those properties that are inside that box. And if I hit Add Work, these are now added to the schedule. So it says 5 jobs processed. Now, having done that, that's crew, should be crew 10. So I come down here. Yeah, so crew 10, early spring. 10's got other stuff in it. Now, if you wanted to, you've selected kind of a compact group of properties. I mean, they're near to each other, but you now have the option to come into the routing and same date range because they put on the schedule for today. So I hit the crew, hit get routing. And here now are all those, the spring ones. And I can now, from here, optimize them. So even though they're in a relatively small area for traveling, I can make it even more efficient by using the optimize and then save them. And this is the order they'd print out in today. So this gives you a way to manage your applications by, again, you activate the zone jobs, then you can select which particular rounds you want. I'm sorry, you go into daily, get work. You activate rounds and then check the round you want, and it'll show you all the customers with that. Okay, so that covers kind of some of those other scheduling scenarios other than the automatic or date-driven scheduling. Also on this screen, you have Adjust Schedule. Well, what Adjust Schedule allows you to do is it will show you now for the date range you want. So we'll go back to the 1st of December to limit this a little bit. So here are all the jobs that are on the schedule. It is showing just a few crews, and you can show more crews here. But let's say it's raining today. We'll go back to the beginning of the week. So we'll go for this week. Show jobs. So these are the jobs on the schedule for the 13th to the 20th to the 15th, and I want to add crew 6 to this. So I'm going to come to 6 and hit show crew, and now crew 6 is on here. But what you can do from this screen is you can say, okay, first of all, there's only one job, so I'm not going to send out crew 3 for this. I want to change it to crew 2. So I check this off. I come up here, I say crew 2 and hit move jobs. And now Michael Jones is in crew 2. And let's say because it's raining today, I want to move these to Friday for crew 2. So I can click here, come up to the date, choose Friday's date, the 17th, and hit move jobs. And now those jobs have been moved to the 17th. So this gives you a way to manipulate the schedule and the crew assignment. And when you change the crews, notice you've got this update crew and jobs also. When this is checked, it will make the new crew assignment permanent. If this is not checked, it'll just put that job on that crew for this occurrence, and then it'll when it reschedules, the job will return to the original crew there. Okay, so travel time shown on the routing screen for each stop or for all the jobs that day. I think that's for all the jobs that day. Now, travel time is calculated in CLIP as half the time. Okay, so you've got properties A, B, and C. B, the travel time for B is half the time it took to get there from A, and then half the time it takes to get to the next property C. So it's calculated a little bit differently than CLIPitc did, which can be another discussion for that. Okay, so we looked at view the work calendar, activate zone jobs, activate rounds, adjust schedule. Now this next feature is really is kind of cool. it's raining and you need to let your customers know that you know it's raining and you'll get there as soon as you can. Well, you come to message customer here, and then you come in and we're going to select our lawn maintenance. So we'll select lawn maintenance, show records. So here are my lawn maintenance jobs, and here are email addresses that we have. I check this off, then I can come down here and click create email. So here we can come in and we can say rain delay, and then we can type the information we want here. We can also add an attachment. So you could use this for marketing, sending a brochure about aeration, for instance. And then when you've got this ready, you hit send email, and now it will send an email to all those customers. We are going to be adding the ability to send a text instead of an email from this screen. So that is another project development's working on. So for those of you who want to use text rather than email, that will be available in the not too distant future for that. Okay, say you move a job to another crew, how would you adjust the routing for best efficiency? You would then have to go back to that routing screen, although, yeah, you'd have to go back to the routing screen. I would say that's the fastest way would be to go, and then with the crew with that new job or jobs added to it, you just reroute them for that day. Okay, then finally, remove unpaid work. Okay, you've got customers who haven't been paying you. You can click on this and it's going to pull up then the balance that customers have. And you've got the ability to come in here and cherry pick who you want to not include on the schedule. And so you can do the amount overdue. So if your threshold is, whoa, that's a lot of money, Daffy Duck, your career must have tanked. So you can just come in here, choose who you want, and then and you can do this by, you know, just those who are 90 days past due, for instance. Oh, it's still a ton. But then you can come in here, you can put them on hold, you can remove them. You could also send a message to these customers. So you could come in here and create an email like we saw a moment ago saying, hey, sorry, you're more than 90 days past due. So please, you know, we will resume services when you get caught up. Call the office with questions, or if you take credit cards, and we'll talk some about that, you can send a link to a credit card screen for them to enter that information to pay for that. Okay, how to change start dates on all of one crew, let's say beginning of the year. Okay. Okay, that's a great question. So someone is asking, well, the scenario is if you're not in Florida, you're probably not going to do any mowing until March or April. So one thing you can do is you can come here to the adjust schedule section, and we can say, okay, I want all of my jobs pretty much finished up for mowing between October 1st and November 30th. So I click show jobs, and then the mowing crews are 1 and 2. I've got some mowing here in 3. Well, let's say, and I don't have a clear date to look at, but let's say you were looking at jobs from on October 25th. I'm going to kind of gamble that I've got something on October 25th here. And the 25th is a Monday. So I hit show jobs. Rats, it didn't work. But imagine, if you would, all your mowing jobs that are now back on the 25th are on this screen. You could change this date to a Monday. So Monday, say March 14th. And then you would be able to move the jobs, the mowing jobs, from Monday the 25th to Monday, March 14th. So they're available to you next week or next year on the right time. Okay. Is amount due pulled from QuickBooks? I'm going to say no. At least I'm not. This program is not integrated with QuickBooks, so I'll have to, let me get a firmer answer tomorrow when we talk about billing. So I'm making a note here. Now, one thing, as we'll cover this tomorrow, you are able to enter payments in CLIP and post them to QuickBooks. So it is possible to maintain the identical balance in both programs. But we can talk about that more tomorrow when we talk about billing. Okay, so back to daily here. And then we've got, so we've handled all these. Print route sheets we looked at, record work mobile. This is just a way of viewing what the crew has done in the field. This is really not designed as much for you to do input. Like there's that caret on the left is not there, and some of the choices are not there. Record work. Oh, one thing, let me mention this to you. In the next week or so, on the next release for CLIPitc, you're going to have an add job feature here, like you do in CLIPXE or similar. So that's worth looking forward to, and we might say more about that once it's in there. Crew position, you're able now to set up or to see where the crew is. So this is based on the crew using the app on a phone or tablet. So you can click here and you can choose which crew you want to see. Okay, I'm not sure why it's showing that, but we can take a look at it. That's interesting. So here I am. Oh, okay, that's just treating me like I'm back in the office in Tennessee. And map options, you can show satellite, show traffic. So this just gives you the ability to check up on an account or check up on your crews to see where they are. And when you set up the crews, you can assign different colors for different crews there. All right, so let me just see if I'm forgetting anything. No, I think we have covered everything we wanted to for the daily routines. So it's almost an hour. So let's go ahead and open it up for questions. So if you've got a question, just go ahead and use the chat and we'll answer questions for a bit. How do you, enter a transaction? Okay. I'll cover that today as well. So under invoice, a transaction. So let me present again the scenario. You get a note back from the crew that says that while they were at a customer's house, the customer came out and said, we've got dead bushes in the back, and you pull them out now and get rid of them. And they say, yeah, that'll be $75. And the person says, cool, we'll do it. So you've been notified of that. Now, you don't have to schedule a job for remove bushes and this. You can come here to under invoice, additional charges, and then you find the customer here. So this is going to be under Heather, and the amount is $75. You tab over here, put the date. This was done yesterday, so you can change the date here. And description is removed dead shrubs per owner's request. You could do some invoice notes here. Please contact us if you want these replaced. We have a great assortment of blah, blah, blah. Here you can choose whether it's taxable or not. And then you hit process. Having processed it, it's now in her history under the customer. It is also set up in the billing screen, ready to be billed. We'll look at that tomorrow. Okay, reports able to go to Excel for. Let me come back here. Okay. How do you enter transactions? Okay, Brian, are reports able to go to Excel format? Yes, they are. So if you're in a report screen, let me see if I can pull up a quick report here. So history, now let me do customer. Okay. In most of the report screens, you've got this little downward arrow, and you can choose Excel here to save it as an Excel file as well as other formats for that. So yes, that should be available pretty much for every report there. Can I go over post-service and pre-service notifications, mainly how soon the customer receives the post-service once the tech marks job is done? Okay, Kevin, coming back here to customers, The marketing emails are where pre and post service emails are created. So pre-service email at this time, there's only one, you unfortunately. So I hope they're going to give options to choose different formats, but you come in here and you set this up, and then you can send it 1 day ahead, a week ahead, 2 weeks ahead, or same day of the service. So 1 day ahead means for jobs on the schedule tomorrow, it'll say, hey, tomorrow, weather permitting, we're going to be out on your property doing X. It's funny because every morning I come in and in my CLIP email, I've got some of these notifications I've set up just for testing purposes. Then you also have the post service email. You can set up different ones of these. So here is the standard template, but you can add new templates. So you could have a post service notification for snow, a post service for fertilization app. And so this is where you set up the email. Now the post service emails can be sent like daily, weekly, or every 2 weeks. And this is sent, so after the work is finalized, all of the post-service emails are batched together and sent that night or early the next morning. So there are a couple of steps involved in this. One is the job not only needs to be recorded, but it needs to be finalized. And then having been finalized, these are sent out as a batch that day if you do daily. One other addition they're going to be doing is enabling better communication through the app and the tech in the field, or the crew in the field, with customers, either sending a text that jobs are done or emails. So that'll be coming down the pike, so to speak, for that. So this is where you set these up. Now, in addition to having it set up here, you have to do some setups in the customers. So here for Acme Properties, we have here these check boxes and email address and email post and service. You can also come up here to more contacts, and you can then add contacts, and in adding contacts, you can also put that you want these individuals to get that. So if you have more than 4, you're able to manage that. But then you also have a setup at the job level, because each job then has whether or not it's going to be a pre-service notification and how they're going to be notified, phone, email, not at all, both. So you would set these up, and then post-service, none or what template you're using for that job. So there is some setup involved, but yeah, so the pre-service typically go out the day before, post-service the day of, but they can be, you can stretch that time frame in the program for that. Okay, so let me come back over here, Jim. What would you suggest for jobs that get done as we can? Is there a waiting list? Good question. I'd have to give it some more thought, but just shooting from the hip, one thing you might do is if you're using the app, you might assign those jobs to crew 99. So let's say crew 1 gets done and it's 2:30 in the afternoon. In the app, they could switch the crew. So here they come in here. They'd go to the gear icon, look at a different crew where the to-do list is, like junk, and then whatever's there, they could pick up and do. So that might be one way to manage that. At the office level, similar idea, crew 99, but then in daily, if you're looking at the just schedule screen, and you see that a crew has a gap on that day, then you could look again at crew 99 and just assign it to that crew for that day for that. Okay. Patty, is there now going to be any type of online manual that can be accessed for performing various tasks? Currently, you're able to come into this question mark, and here it takes you to our help desk. So help.clip.com. And on the home page, you've got like this would take you to a list of the videos that we have, and eventually these classes will be listed there. Otherwise, you can type in, so you want to do daily. So click daily, and setting up users and permissions. I don't know what that's, maybe that was a poor choice. Okay, so let me do record. So here's how to record work in ITC. So that's one place to do it, is to look at, to click on the little question, the question mark here, to go to our help desk for that. I think they do have kind of a manual that you could use here. Let me go back. I thought I saw it here. So videos here. Yeah, here's a new user tutorial. So yeah, I would say, look around in this website and you should find a lot of helpful stuff there. Okay, is there, oh boy, 7 questions. For chemical, okay, great. For chemical companies that leave invoices on each job done that day, can you, excellent, thank you very much. That was a gap in my notes here. Okay, so back under daily, and let's look at crew 10. So here are your application jobs. If you need to leave behind a route sheet invoice or service notice, you'd then come to print route sheets here. Again, you pay attention to this. But what you can do is you can come down here and choose rounds. I'll choose jobs and rounds. Because what I activated was part of the rounds. So it's showing up here, and then I come down and I'm going to choose this one. So this is an 8.5 by 14 legal size. So I've got some options here. Show history, say for only programs and rounds. All history would show like the last time they were mowed. You can show materials, show prices, show previous balance. Okay, good. That's a new thing that was requested. You mark them as printed, so that way they won't reprint again if you, unless you, there's a way to do that, but so we hit show report. So here now is the route sheet. So here is the customer number, phone numbers would be here. Here are notes about it. Here are previous services. This service is lawn maintenance. Oh, so crew 10 is doing lawn maintenance, huh? So here's your company applicator license. That's interesting. Oh, did I get the crew wrong? Yeah, I'm sorry, I did. Okay. So here's pre-emergent spring. Now, if I did have materials already associated, they would be listed here. Here's where they do weather conditions for this. Now, we do have this was actually a version of this document that you had in CLIPitc. So if you did use that, you could actually choose this service invoice. And now if we show this, see, it doesn't have the hash mark. So you can feed this through your printer with pre-printed 8.5 by 14 form that you might have bought from us, and it should line up pretty well for that. Now, along the lines of this I apologize for missing this, but back here under record work, in the line here, you have a material column and a notes column. When it says add, that means there are no materials associated with this job. Adjust means there are materials associated with the job, and you can adjust the quantity. So if this was a fertilization, so let's pull up a fertilization services here. So here's the pre-emergent. So if you're recording this manually, now the crew can record the materials in the field. So if you're using the app, they can do that. So we're going to do 305 to 1523. I'm going to come down here to add. Click add here. It was an herbicide I used, and they used 3 of them, whatever the quantity was. I click add material, close. So here now is the material there. I close, and I've now added that. I just go in and check that that's done. Here, this says adjust. So this takes me and shows me what's there, the budgeted quantities, but I can edit this. So if I click edit, I can then put in the actual quantity used. Now in this case, the quantity is based on the area, but I can put in the amount here. So 2.5, for instance. So that's how you record materials without the app. Now in the app here, so if we come into Crew 10, and go to Bart Simpson, we can start this, come to more here, materials, and here's the herbicide. So I can edit it and put in what was actually used. So that's how the crew would do it out in the field. Okay. Can the text finalize from the app so customers receive notice immediately? The text can finalize from the app, but at this point there is no immediate notification. That is on the development to-do list for that. And I'll remind them. So let me make a note of that, Kevin. Okay. And using a pre-service notification phone option, where do we find the phone list? Yeah, in the route sheets, including the route sheet invoices, the phone numbers that print there kind of well, they're not so obvious, because when you're in the customer screen, you got these phone numbers, but these aren't the ones that are pulled for the route sheet. The ones that are pulled for the route sheets are under properties and more contact person information. So these are the ones that would then be included on the route sheet. It's a little obscure. I'm not sure why they did it this way, but they did. So that's where those are. Okay, so can you go over prior work date done and recording that date in the history? And the date recording it in the history, not the date work done. Okay, so when you're recording work, the default is today's date. So if I come here to record work and I recorded this, it defaulted to this date. So if this was really done yesterday and I inadvertently come in here and finalize it, so this is Acme. So now I come back to Acme. And I go to history. So here is the application. So now I've selected this. And so in the history screen, whatever line item you've selected above is what you're looking at here. And so this is where I'd have to go in then and change this date. So now I've changed it to the 14th. And just to confirm, now I go into invoice, and we'll cover this tomorrow. Print edit individual. So here now is the pre-emergent, and it shows it for the 14th. So that's how you manage dates. And again, remembering to do the correct date can be, it's an adjustment to make compared to the other program. Crew 1 finishes their list. Can they look at Crew 2's list and start on their list in the app? Yes, they can. What they would do is they'd reassign that job from crew 2 to themselves and then go to work on it there, but that can be managed through the app. But they do have to assign it, because you can't have the same crew, or you can't have 2 different crews logged into the same job at the same time. So you would have to move it from one crew to another. Okay, is there a way to change the post and pre-service notifications to say from company versus ITC? It should say from your company, but it comes out of a service at clip.com or clipitc.com. And the reason we do that is to avoid the situation that other users of our other programs experienced with your internet service provider throttling your internet connection if they think you're spamming. So we've got companies that send out, they email 400 bills at the end of the month. Well, if you did that out of Yahoo or out of AOL, and also depending on your service provider, they may stop you from doing that, or they may make it slow, or they may do something again to fight people who spam. But for some reason, we're able to work around that by using the service at Clip email address. But in the email, it should be in very big print, your company name in there. So it should be pretty obvious, even though the return emails or the email it's sent from looks weird, it should indicate pretty clearly your company information there. And likewise, if they reply to that, it actually goes to your email. And what happens is the email that you set up. So let me come back here. So we go into settings. I think we looked at this a little bit on Monday. We go to company info here, and your edit company info. Whatever email you have here is where it will be, the return email or the reply email would be sent from your customer. Can the mobile app, when they are finalizing work, is there a place in the app for inputting their chemical license? Good question. Under employee, let me see if you've got the applicator license here. Natalia, I think you're going to have to email me separately because this will be associated with the employee who is associated with the job. So if you have to be accountable for that, you should be able to find it, but I'm not sure what that has to do with the app per se. So maybe if you could shoot me an email and let me know, we can talk about it more specifically. Okay. Autopay clients in CLIPitc apparently are not set up autopay in CLIPitc. Do you have to turn the autopay on one by one? I believe you may have to. I'm not sure why that didn't come over, but in the customer screen, autopays are set up in the general tab here. So you've got autopay, and here's where the credit card it should be set up. Yeah, I don't think there's a way to globally do that. So we'd have to look into that. Okay, so Kevin printed a sample of legal size. It's not allowing more than one job to print. Is there a way to put multiple, such as, so that means you're using it for the same, okay. All right, I'd have to look into that, Kevin, to see for that. If those jobs are assigned to the same crew, but they're printing on multiple pages. I know that in CLIPitc there was a consolidate option where if you did have more than one service on a property by the same crew, it would combine them all, but I don't think that's available. So let me make a note of that. So consolidate jobs. Okay. Can you print out all outstanding invoices? Yes. Again, we're getting into tomorrow, but that's fine. This is an easy-ish one to answer. So you go to invoice here. You've got an unpaid invoice function. and you can go back as far as you want. So let's say I want to go back to see anything from June that is unpaid. So I'm going to choose June's date range, show report. And so I've got one unpaid invoice from June. So yeah, you can do, this is a way to print out unpaid invoices for that. So crew 1 is on the big job and crew 2 finishes their route and then goes to crew 1 job to help finish the work for them. How do we record that? What would happen is that crew 1 that started the job, they would pause it. So if I go into here, so we'll go back, we'll go in, and so we're crew 1. I'll get to crew 1. Okay, so crew 1. All right, so I go to job, Kenny Cross. I'm going to start this job. Okay, so they are working at Kenny Cross's and another crew shows up to help them. What they do is they hit pause, then they get out of here, go to the gear, and they add the employees from that other crew. So they're going to add Adam, John, and Kamala. Then they come back here to that job and they start it again. Okay, so now let's go into the program and see what that looks like. So we come here to daily and we're going to go to record work. We're back in crew 1. Okay, so here's that job. Let me see if it'll show me this here. We have to finalize it. Nope. So here we're seeing now the whole list of employees. So here are the 3 we added. Here are the 3 that were already there, and they have one start and stop time for the first part before they paused it. Then after they pause it, add the others and start it up again, then they now have a new start time that will then close when they end up the job, finish the job. So that's how you would manage a job that we've got more than one crew. You keep it under one crew, but just add the crew members from the other ones to that crew for that day. Okay, regarding my question, yes, one customer, multiple service jobs. Okay, but also Kevin, they're all assigned to the same crew, or did you want to have different crews on the single form? I imagine the same crew. Okay, but thanks for that clarification. Okay, Dina, the emailed invoices show company name, but service notifications do not. They just state CLIPitc. Okay, let me research that. Okay. All right, let me check on that, Dina. Okay, Brittany, in addition to the additional charges tab or single payment, it would be nice to be able to see the customer address when you select their name. Okay, let me make a note of that. Okay, thank you. Okay, well, why don't we wrap this up? I try to do this within 75 minutes. People often need a bio break or something after that much time. So tomorrow we're going to look at billing. So bring those questions and we will then see you tomorrow. If you've got any questions from today that you want to follow up with me, here's my email address right here. So go ahead and shoot me an email and I look forward to talking with you all tomorrow. Well, tomorrow billing training includes QuickBooks integration. Yes, a little limited on that, but we'll muddle through. So we'll talk definitely about that though. So, well, thank you very much, everyone, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.